Hello and welcome to my community issue research project. My name is Sara Perez and this presentation will be covering obesity. For a bit of background on the topic, how is obesity defined? Obesity is the accumulation of excess fat that increases the risk for adverse health outcomes. Its etiology is a combination of factors which include environmental and genetic. Questions such as what does the community look like, are there food swamps, and are family members diagnosed can help you identify if environmental or genetic factors contribute to an obesity diagnosis. Common diagnostic practices include physical exams, which is a basic checkup with your physician. They closely look at heart rate, blood pressure, and have an examination of your abdomen to diagnose obesity. Another common thing to be looked at is your health history, which includes your physical activity and dietary habits, medical conditions, and your stress levels. Another thing to consider is your BMI or body mass index. A BMI of over 30 is considered to be obesity. Another thing is looking at waist circumference. A waist circumference of over 40 inches in men is considered obese, and for women over 35 inches. The physiological mechanisms of obesity are very complex, but a simple way of putting it is that there's an imbalance of energy intake and expenditure in your habits, which basically means that you're taking in more energy than you're letting out. An increase in adipose tissue or body fat is also why you can experience obesity. Adipose tissue is a specialized connective tissue that functions as the major storage site for body fat in the form of triglycerides, according to the National Library of Medicine. Adipose tissue also functions as an endocrine organ. This produces adipokines that regulate bodily functions such as energy balance, blood pressure, and lipid metabolism, along with insulin sensitivity. An increase in these adipokines creates an imbalance of physiological functions of the body that leads to cardiovascular issues. The image on the screen is a visual to help you understand better on what goes on in the body when an individual is experiencing obesity. As you can see, the adipocytes link into adipokines, which lead to insulin sensitivity, cardiovascular disease, arthritis, and obesity. As obesity progresses in an individual's body, the cardiovascular and musculoskeletal system are affected. These negative effects can bring along long-term diseases or conditions that are hard to treat or reverse. Common diseases and effects on the cardiovascular system include hypertension, metabolic syndrome, type 2 diabetes, and coronary artery disease. The musculoskeletal system is affected with arthritis and lower back pain. In general, obesity reduces life expectancy. There are many treatment options for obesity to help mitigate or reverse the effects. Self-directed treatments include getting enough exercise or daily movement in your life and dietary changes. Some suggestions that you can change in your diet can be cutting calories, eating more nutrient-dense foods, making healthier choices or restricting certain foods, and meal replacements. Other treatments for obesity include weight loss medication. Many of the more popular brands including Contrave, Ali, and Ozempic.
More treatment options for obesity include endoscopic procedures, which do not require any cuts or incisions in the skin. The intragastric balloon procedure is where a balloon is placed in the stomach and filled with water to reduce the amount of space in the stomach. The endoscopic sleeve gastroplasty is where stitches are placed in the stomach to reduce the amount of food and liquid that the stomach can hold at a time. Surgery is still also an option to fight obesity. The adjustable gastric banding surgery is where an inflatable band is placed around the stomach, dividing it into two pouches and creating a narrow pathway between these two areas. Gastric bypass surgery is where the surgeon creates a small pouch at the top of the stomach where the small intestine is connected to to include within the flow of liquid and food directly into the pouch and bypassing the stomach. Gastric sleeve surgery is where a part of the stomach is removed in order to create a smaller reservoir for food. Now I will play a video that shows an endoscopic procedure.
The endoscopic sleeve gastroplasty procedure. The endoscope is inserted through the mouth into the stomach. The aim of this procedure is to reduce the volume of the stomach by approximately 70%, similar to a surgical sleeve gastrectomy. The front and back walls of the stomach are marked to help guide placement of the sutures. Then, the endoscopic suturing system is attached to the endoscope and used to take full-thickness bites through the wall of the stomach. We perform a running suture pattern that connects the front and back walls of the stomach. Then, the sutures are tightened, bringing the walls together. This pattern is repeated along the stomach to not only reduce the volume, but also the length of the stomach.
I hope that previous video was helpful, and now on to the research and outcomes of obesity. When it comes to obesity, the amount of fat isn't the only concern. Different types of fat are what contribute to these obesity outcomes. White fat, which is mostly common in our bodies and constructed of triglycerides, exists under the layer of skin and around our internal organs. Brown fat, which helps maintain body temperature by burning triglycerides, were believed that they were lost after infancy. Though studies go to show that brown fat can be reactivated by standing in cold temperatures for a long period of time, but many individuals do not want to go through those lengths. Those who are in poverty or in lower income areas are more prone to developing obesity. This can link back to the question of where does the person live and how their community is like, and if there are food swamps around. Because of the individual's low income, they are not able to afford more nutrient-dense foods and affect their health in the long run. The general outcome of obesity is overall positive, as those with obesity are likely to survive and live with it long term, though their mortality is affected and other conditions and diseases can result from them and are also long term. The severity of somebody's diagnosis can affect their life expectancy. People that experience moderate obesity with a BMI of 30 to 35 can experience 3 years of their life lost. Those with severe obesity with a BMI of 40 to 50 can experience up to 10 years off of their life. Though severe obesity is not that common, it is still important to consider these effects. As of 2022, 890 million adults were found to be obese, with 160 million children being obese as well. The countries within the Americas have proven to have the highest average rates of obesity. Low and middle income countries have been observed to have significantly increased numbers of cases of obesity. Seeking professional help can help mitigate feelings of isolation and despair when dealing with your diagnosis and further assist you with bettering your health in the long term. Support groups for obesity include the Obesity Action Coalition, which is a nonprofit that provides support, resources, and education for those seeking to change their lifestyle. Overeaters Anonymous, which is an organization that hosts local meetings to help individuals overcome dietary challenges where medical professionals can be present. And for those that are too shy to seek out help in person, Facebook can be a good way to search for groups and connect with people online. These are all the sites that I used. Thank you for listening to my presentation.